and about what happens when they want to recruit people. What they do often is they'll stage, a death. Like those scientists, remember the biologists that disappeared? Remember there's a bunch of them that got killed?
20 in a row.
Okay, but that's a way of recruiting them into these underground bases. So they resurface there, okay? They've sold their soul to the devil. That's part of it. And it's only later on they realize they're never getting out of that underground base.
Oh, so they fake their death on the surface, then they go underground?
They kill them. They stage the death on the surface. They go underground, but the problem, or they go to off-world locations.
Right. That would be what, Alternative 3?
It's like Alternative 3. Only let's put it this way: Alternative 3 would be a very simplistic scenario. I mean, I think when that came out, that was something like talking about something 100 years earlier. I mean, what we have today is we have. There's intergalactic stuff. There's time travel. There's bases on the moon and various planets and all. It's very.
When I looked into the Bible codes about Mars, the first thing that struck me was that Babylon was very popular there. America has a lot of bases there.
Right, and a lot of these scientists go where they go where they're sent. But the main thing is free will is involved in that.
Okay, so there are captives up there. I've seen that in all the codes. On all these bases, wherever you have people that are working there out of free will because they want to be there, you have people being held there against their will.
Yes, but then, okay, now.
And these are the ones the Lord's bringing to my mind because, we've got to get these people free somehow.
I'm getting involved in the healing aspects of this, and I've been doing some work on soul regeneration because really it's all about getting the flesh out of the way so our souls can emancipate to the Father, which is eternity, right, our eternal home. And the kingdom, that walk is an internal walk with the Father, and basically a lot of this involves, forgiving the traumas. When people are born in this life, they're immediately traumatized upon being born in this planet. They don't get 2 steps before they're traumatized in some way. And what children do is they don't forgive those traumas. They go, I'm hurt, you did it, and they blame. Okay? Now time goes on, the child grows older, he doesn't really ever forgive. It gets layered over with time. Time does not heal wounds, it simply layers them over. They're still there. In other words, that hurt child is still there. To the extent that those things build up on a soul throughout life, that's the extent that not just blockage into getting to eternity occurs, but that also has something to do with what kind of persecution a person gets. Because a lot of the persecution we get is to remind us, to break us, to get us to look back and to let that stuff go. Because that is the thing that's holding us in bondage and in this world, which is an illusion, basically. And so, yes, because it's an illusion, because you can work it from within yourself with God, you can change the outcome. Meaning, if you're an abductor, I'm saying a lot here, Sherry, so forgive me, but I know our time's limited.
No, go right ahead.
If you're an abduction victim, okay, now I've known some here in New Mexico, a family, and they went through a regular deliverance, and for a while it stopped, and then it came back again, and when it came back again, it came back even stronger, and I think the people even kind of went with it and started going to UFO conferences, and I mean no disrespect, I don't look at that they failed or they're weak or there's something wrong with them. I'm looking at the failure of the deliverance process that was done.
Right.
I'm looking at the fact that a lot of what Christians have done, they say, well, they're all demons, you just cast them out and that's it, and then keep your nose clean and, or else they'll come back and bring 7 of their friends. That is a very simplistic way of looking at it. There's a lot of people here who don't know anything about having given anyone permission. They pray in the name of Yahushua, and they don't get free.
Right.
They go through deliverance ministry, and nothing happens. You know what they do a lot of times? They go silent about it. They don't talk about it. They're ashamed that they're being abducted again.
Yeah, that's a big dominant problem among the Christian community is they're afraid to talk about it.
Because people judge them. And it's like, well, there's something wrong with you if you're having that experience.
Right, you're not really a Christian. You're not really saved. You can't really be this. You know what I mean? Yeah,
then come in here and do penance, Get on your knees and repent. Say you're sorry 1,000 times to everybody.
A lot of these babies are just born and they're not alive 2 minutes and the doctors are implanting tracking chips in their feet.
Right.
You know, I know you know about the PKU test. Every infant's given by the 3rd day that they're born. You can't even leave the hospital without a PKU.
Right.
And they can't even tell you. They take 5 drops of blood, and the nurses can identify 2 or 3, but they have no idea what the rest is for. They put you in a tracking database.
Right. It
identifies your DNA the second you're born.
Right. Your cattle, Sherry. It's a farm.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Right?
You're tracking your cattle. And if they don't get you with vaccination chips or the PKU chip that they put in your feet the same time they're taking blood out, then they'll get you later as an adult. But every person on Earth just about is some kind of tracking chip.
Well, you know, in my own prophetic gleaning here, I will say this, up to and surpassing this, but there are 1 billion abduction victims.
Oh, yeah, they're saying 1 in 10 people now.
1 billion. It's more like 1 in 5.
Right.
Okay, and growing. It didn't used to be, and growing, and it will envelop the earth. It's being harvested. And people are, you know, it reminds me of, like, you know, you see 2 cows out there in the field, right, and they're chewing their cud, and, you know, and this one cow gets the idea that they're going to be slaughtered, and the other cows all shun him. You're crazy. There's nothing like that. We're just out here chewing our cud, having a great time.
Yeah.
Well, nothing's going to happen.
2 cows out in the field grazing, and the one cow the aliens get, and the other cow the military black ops get. You know, the one gets to chip the one, and the others grab the other. That's why there's so many abductions, because they're both alien and they're both military. Well,
another reason there's so many abductions now is because they're just not getting it done, and they still haven't been able to do the one thing, which is to create the likeness and image, which is the soul, the human soul.
Yeah, and
they have not been able to. They can. Well, you said in your article it was really quite good. Lunatic Fringe. I believe you sent that out today.
Yeah, I just sent that out.
3 in a row, just pop on this issue, okay? And about the idea that they soul sharing, where now I've seen this in the hospital when I was called a lunatic, and that's what they use the hospital for. I mean, now at this age I'm like 17 years old, so 16, and all the people in there were 16. Well, this is being run by the CIA, this little hospital. And there are aliens there, just so happened to be. And my shrink was happened to be from ex-Army intelligence.
Yes, imagine that.
And what they were doing there is they were doing what I called at that time soul exchange. In other words, they were taking whatever was in there out of a person and replacing it with something else. You know, with another. They had a kind of a similar personality, but it was just like you said. It was as if a demon or another entity took that vessel over. They got released from the hospital, back to their parents, and all was hunky-dory.
Yeah, the aliens grab a body.
But they go to work in the family business. They go graduate from, this was out in California, Southern California. So they go to, USC or UCLA. They graduate, they go to the right fraternity, the next thing you know, everything's cool. But that person that I knew that was there had been traumatized, whose eyes were open, saw what his parents were into, saw that most of the people in that society were not, were part of this dark side, tethered to it, weren't human, in other words.
Right, they're not, and that's one thing the Lord's been showing to me a lot lately, is that a lot of these organizations and the military and the governments that have gotten involved with even making treaties or any kind of contact with these aliens, because they're nothing but fallen angels. They have been overtaken and overcome by them.
But when a person gets taken over at 16 and 17, they do. You see, this is something in witchcraft, and something with the elite. This is what they really want. They want their child to be indwelt by a powerful entity, because it means that he'll be successful. I know it's sick, man.
Yeah, well, the kingdom of the beast that's coming, it's all based on control. And that's exactly why, so many people are getting tracked and have tracking chips in them, and a lot of these chips are two-way transistors where they can implant thoughts into your mind, implant dreams.
It's all witchcraft. It's
all under control, trying to control that human.
It's all witchcraft. It all goes back to this idea.